Hey, Alex.
What?
So when you're on a boat and you're on like a rocky ocean, and you're drifting out to sea, what's the best way to keep your boat like sturdy and just staying still?
Oars?
No, not even close. You throw out your anchor.
Oh, your anchor. Oh,
Yep,
okay.
You throw out your anchor. You know what I like to do to keep my podcast steady and just sturdy while everything else seems to be rocky and wavy around me?
Not oars, right?
Not oars. It's Anchor again.
Oh, okay.
That's right. Anchor.fm. Let me explain. This app is free, completely free to host your podcast on.
Like 100% free?
100% free. And you get unlimited storage for all your episodes.
Unlimited?
Unlimited.
Unlimited.
As Russell Wilson would say.
Yes.
That's right. It's also got creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer.
Well, I'm all about that.
I know. And it also distributes your podcast for you, so it can be heard on the likes of Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all of them.
What's not to like?
It's great. You can even make money from your podcast, Alex.
And we're all about that.
And you don't need minimum listenership. So,
that's
good. That's a real good thing. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. You need to download the free Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started.
I'm getting right on it right now.
Keep your boat and your podcast sturdy. Heyo! Fantasy Chairmen podcast is here. Round 2 of the playoffs.
Round 2
of the playoffs. I am Ben.
I'm Alex.
And we're back. Fantasy Chairmen coming at you to give you all the goods for round 2.
Round 2.
Fight. Oh, man. What a week.
No kidding.
It was not good in some places, and it was real good in others.
Isn't that fantasy football, though?
It's just such a love-hate. It's such a love-hate thing. I love the game. I love playing it, and then you just get things like, what happened to me in the big league, and it just sucks.
Yeah, unfortunately, so much of fantasy football is luck-based. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, so you can sit here and listen to us all you want.
It is, and we might be able to give you maybe a decent frame of mind thinking towards who you'd like to start or sit. But at the end of the day, once you have your lineups locked and you've decided, it's up to the fate of the football gods at that point.
Yep, and they frowned on me in the chairman leagues this year.
They did.
They smiled on me in others.
But chairman leagues.
However, the one where it was smiling on me all season long really decided to just turn that smile upside down going into round 2 here because, oh boy, no Julio.
Oh.
Matt Stafford got hurt.
Oh.
Keenan Allen put up 2 points in the Thursday night game. That's Devontae Adams, please. You've had a career season, but I need a career game from you this week.
Oh man,
yeah, rough stuff.
It is rough stuff.
Didn't make the playoffs, and then I went up against the buzzsaw that was the Fantasy Sasquatches team to get knocked into the last place game. This week.
That was tough.
The 1 week that my team actually had a good point total too. And then his goes from scoring about 80 points a week to 170, right around there.
That's about how it works most of the time.
Yeah, it was lovely. Anyway, I'm going to stop complaining. I thought I got it out before the episode, but I didn't. It's just stuck on my soul, man. Stuck on my soul. But you know what? You advanced.
I did.
You advanced.
Round 2 of both dynasty or both the chairman leagues.
Yep. Dynasty in the big league.
And let me tell you what. In the big league, the League of Origin, I've got a stout competition lined up across from me in this one.
Yes, you do.
And I already had Eckler and Nelson Aguilar, who I thought could be a sneaky play, but Derek Carr going out. And then for some reason, the Chargers only wanted to hold Nelson Aguilar. They couldn't hold on to Darren Waller, but they wanted to hold on to Nelson Aguilar.
Every time Aguilar would run by or just start to get open, one of the Raiders corners would just grab his jersey and just his arm or whatever. And yeah, like there was the one he was like running a corner into the end zone, I think.
Oh yeah.
And just went by the guy. He stumbled he literally grabbed his hips and like pulled him down.
Oh yeah, I saw it. And then there was one end zone target where Aguilar, he shook him. It was like a quick little 5 yards and out route, and he would have been open. And the guy, same thing, just grabbed a hold of his hips and held him for like 2 seconds, which was just the amount of time for the ball to sail by him.
Yep.
Oh my gosh!
And the guy got beat, and he's like, "There's nothing else I can do."
Yeah,
just tackled him basically.
Oh my gosh! And then that seam route. I was just like, I saw it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I know Aguilar just ran it. That's who he's throwing to. Yeah,
just a little behind him, a little high
and over him. Which had he not gotten his jersey held for because he got raked on that one too. Had he not had that jersey tugged on, he might have been there.
Yep. That was extremely frustrating for any Aguilar owner to watch.
Aguilar tilter that was watching last night.
I had him in my family league, and same thing. I just kept watching him, and I was like, come on, Aguilar. And it was like literally every time he got open or the ball thrown to him, he was getting held or tackled straight up.
And it didn't help neither that Derek Carr went out with an injury earlier on, what was that, first quarter of the game?
That was
first quarter of the game, and on that drive or on one of the first opening drives, Carr hit Aguilar for like a 30-yard gain, and it was just like, After that, I was just rubbing my hands. I was like, "All right,
it's gonna be one of these games."
Oh yeah, baby.
Nope, didn't do hardly anything at all after that.
Wrong-o.
Marcus Mariota came in, relief of Derek Carr. Looked pretty good, though.
He looked great.
Going up against the Chargers. Good to see Mariota.
Yeah, go Ducks.
Back out there. I'm not going to say that, but I will.
Go Oregon?
Oregon. Nice job, Oregon. Oregon boy.
Go Ducks.
It was battle of two Oregon quarterbacks last night.
Both Duckies.
Yeah, both the Ducky boys. Two of their best quarterbacks that program's ever had.
Yep.
Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome to see. For all you people that were just heavy tilting and sorrowful and racking your brain on what to do with Keenan Allen on Thursday, that I was right there with you. Yes, decided to leave him in about 5 different leagues that I own him in. And
you paid for it in 5 different leagues that you owned him in.
What do you do at that point when he's going up to cameras and saying, "Don't sit me"?
The only way that you could have sat Keenan Allen is if you had somebody like a Chris Godwin, a Justin Jefferson that maybe you took later on, an Ayuk, somebody that you thought might be right along the same lines of what he could have got you. And most people didn't,
Yeah. In most leagues, unless you just have a super stacked team, you probably don't need to worry about it then. But in most leagues, anybody that's a viable fill-in for Keenan Allen is already going to be in your starting lineup. So
pretty much.
It was rough. It was a rough decision. I sat there all day long trying to figure out, and I kept going back and forth. Do I sit him? Do I sit him? And I just kept thinking, man.
Who were some other options that you were considering if you have sat him? Who would you be starting?
Well, it depends on what league, but
the most important
in our dynasty league.
Okay.
Then
who are you debating between?
Well, I legitimately thought about putting Keenan Allen down into a flex spot and then replacing him with Hunter Henry. Because I was like, well, if Keenan Allen and Mike Williams don't go, Hunter Henry probably going to get quite a few looks. And he ended up having a pretty darn good game.
That could have worked.
Yes, it would have worked. Another option could have been Marquise Brown, but he got put on the COVID IR list. And they're talking about that he possibly will be able to play. He was just a high-risk contact. I got the likes of Sterling Shepard, Christian Kirk, Sammy Watkins. Like, nobody that I want to say, I'm putting this person in over Keenan Allen. Even a 80% Keenan Allen. With that connection with Herbert.
You did what you had to do, man. I get it.
That's, I don't,
If you didn't really have any, the only other option I could have thought of, which I'm kind of peeking over there, I mean, Hunter Henry, and then I might have said, had you known the news about Michael Thomas now, you have Jared Cook on your bench, I could have seen you doing that as well.
Yeah, I do have Jared Cook down there too.
But
we didn't know that Drew Brees was going to be starting at the time either. So
neither that Michael Thomas was going to be out, which we'll get to here in a minute.
Yes, that's true. We've got news to get into. But anyway, I was right there with you if you were feeling that Keenan Allen pain. And I'm sorry. One other thing I want to throw out there really quick that I saw on Twitter was that apparently Herbert at one point said he was told by Anthony Lynn that he was targeting Keenan Allen a bit too much. Just, if everybody's been following the clock management issues and...
Yeah. How about instead of him... Oh, my gosh. I don't think Anthony Lynn makes it, man.
I don't know, see how he can. Like, just
from my understanding, he's a excellent guy, excellent dude, a great leader, but I don't know what happened this year coaching wise.
Oh man.
It has just been terrible. Clock management, special teams.
So they have had some of the worst special teams I think that the NFL has ever seen.
They've had some of the most boneheaded clock management things that I'm like, I don't understand how it happens.
I know.
Like, how does that happen like that? And it's not like it was just a one-off or maybe even two times. It's been like, more than a handful of times where you're like scratching your head. You're like, what did I just see?
No, it wasn't in this game on Thursday against the Raiders. The clock management wasn't so much the issue, but more so some of the play calling, I believe. And then there was at one point as they were... as they were going into OT, Joe Buck or Troy Aikman, one of the two, said that in that fourth quarter, Herbert had only thrown one pass or whatever up to that point. And it's like, what are you doing against the Raiders? It's this close a game, and you have your stud rookie QB who's been slinging it all season long, and he only throws one time in the fourth quarter? Like, what? What?
Well, I will say that the Raiders had like a 12-minute drive, 10 or 12 minute drive.
They had that's true. They did have a long drive.
I think they only had like one series in the fourth quarter. So
that's fair. Because their long drive was going from the third quarter into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
It was a really long one, but I don't know. Anthony Lynn, probably going to be time to move on.
Yeah.
Great guy, not a great head coach.
Not this year, anyways.
All right. Well, let's get into the news.
And now it's time for your NFL news.
All right, a little news for you.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Here's some of this news.
Here's a little news for you. Ronald Jones of the Buccaneers had broken his finger, and he had surgery and pins placed in his finger. But we learned after the surgery that he got placed on the COVID-19 list.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure if he either tested positive or was a close contact. Like the 5-day quarantine thing. So, unsure about that, but it doesn't sound like he's going to be going Sunday. Bruce Arians is still leaving the possibility that he could be available, but which makes me think that maybe he was a close contact, but he doesn't have to tell them if he was a contact or if he tested positive or not. So
nope.
So he could just be leading them on, but that's probably going to mean increased touches for Leonard Fournette and maybe LaShawn McCoy or Keyshawn Vaughn, one or the other.
It's true. It's that time of the year. Head coach is playing head games.
Yeah,
now.
man. Bruce Arians does that regardless. He'll straight up lie to you.
Yeah, for real.
We kind of mentioned it earlier, but Drew Brees is back after missing 4 straight games with multiple broken ribs and a punctured lung.
Speaking of another coach playing head games.
Yeah, just yesterday he said Drew has a long ways to go, but ultimately it's going to be up to how he feels. Well, what do you know? He gets checked out by the doctors. The doctors say he's medically cleared, and he's going to start.
Yep.
Head games, man. Head games.
Yeah, well, he wanted him game planning for Taysom Hill.
I guess.
That's a totally different game.
That is
you got to plan for.
That is a different game. Julio Jones, interim coach. Raheem, what's the last name? Is it Morris?
Yeah, Raheem Morris.
Raheem Morris rules out Julio Jones for Week 15. That is a killer.
You're telling me.
For people hoping to have Julio's services to get them into the championship game. I got Julio in the Dynasty League, and that hurts. That sucks.
Yep. It's not fun.
Not a good time. Sorry, guys.
Anybody that's relying on Matt Ryan, I'm sorry.
Yeah, newsflash. Don't play Matt Ryan if you can avoid it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Let's see here. Ezekiel Elliott has not really been practicing a whole lot. He's just been working on the sidelines. He's dealing with a calf strain. He is expected to play at this time. So I don't know if the workload is going to be lightened during the game or not, but Zeke just hasn't really had that great of a year. And the Cowboys, man, I'll just say I wouldn't be surprised come Sunday morning they say, actually, we're going to sit Zeke out on this one.
What a week for some of these studs.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, Jerry Jones just paid him all that money, so I bet he's probably telling him, I don't care if you're hurt or not, you're going out there.
Yeah, you're going out there, you're playing.
Oh, man. Curtis Samuel, questionable with a hamstring injury, so keep an eye on that.
No, DJ Moore should be back for the Panthers, though.
Yep.
So that's good. I believe he was removed from the COVID IR list.
That he was. Michael Thomas has been ruled out with an ankle injury.
Wow.
Hadn't practiced all week long. Drew Brees comes back. Michael Thomas out.
What a season for Michael Thomas, huh?
Yeah.
Not a single touchdown scored thus far, and injured pretty much for all of it.
This is terrible.
Oh man. But arguably, I don't even know that arguably, like the top running back and the top wide receiver pretty much have been unavailable to fantasy managers all season long. Yeah. Wild. Yeah, McCaffrey not going to play this week. Listed as doubtful right now, but
is Michael Thomas your top wide receiver?
I mean, he was the number one receiver last year, what I'm saying. Coming into this season.
Okay.
No, I chose Devontae Adams as number one.
Yeah. Oh,
but,
man.
Yeah, no, just coming into the season, the number one running back, number one wide receiver, and look where they are. Look what they've done.
It's a rough year.
Sucks.
Alex Smith has been ruled out for this Sunday as well. They were hoping that he was going to be able to go for Sunday. They didn't have him practice at all, and I guess they tested it out, and there was not enough progress to have him game ready. So Dwayne Haskins is going to get the start over Alex Smith.
Oof.
And Antonio Gibson actually apparently got a little bit of work in today, but he is ruled doubtful. And honestly, I can't see him coming back this soon from a turf toe injury. So.
Yeah, I can't either. And if he does, I would imagine that it'll just be in a limited capacity.
Very limited.
Probably won't get a whole lot of run. Won't get a whole lot of run.
All right, and that's all I got for news and notes.
That's all you got?
That's all I got.
That's all you got. All right. Well, that's good because we're going to go straight into the preview. And if you listened last week, our preview is a little longer because it's playoff time. And we want to focus in a little bit more on some of these matchups and maybe try to give you the best advice that we can for every fantasy relevant player involved.
We're in playoff preview mode, guys.
Trying to give you all the info.
We're trying to dive a little deeper.
To ruminate. You got to ruminate on it. Really think about it.
Ruminate or ruinate?
Ruminate. No, ruinate is what's been happening to my big league team all season long.
Yes.
It's been ruinated all year long. Our jackpot matchup of the week last week, Alex, was the Green Bay Packers versus the Detroit Lions. Mm-hmm. It ended up being all right. There was a total of 55 points scored between the two teams. The Packers came out and did what they do. Aaron Rodgers, 26 completions, 290 yards, 3 touchdowns, 6 carries for 13 yards, and 1 rushing touchdown. So Rodgers rogered.
Yeah, he did.
For sure. And then
he did.
Devontae Adams did his thing, 7 receptions, 115 yards, and 1 touchdown. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, 6 for 6 for 85 and a touchdown. He always just shows up right when you don't expect him to. Mm-hmm. Robert Tonyan, 5 for 5, 36 yards, and 1 touchdown. Aaron Rodgers loves him some Robert Tonyan.
That he does.
He
loves you a Tonyan.
Yes, he loves him a Tonyan. Absolutely. Alan Lazard was disappointing with 2 receptions for 19 yards. So not good for Alan Lazard there. And then Aaron Jones, slightly disappointing. Going up against the second worst, I believe, rushing defense in the NFL. Only had 8.5 fantasy points in half PPR, 15 carries, 69 yards, 2 receptions for 6 yards.
He just really couldn't get anything going. I mean, he didn't really have any huge plays and just... I don't know. He seemed out of sync a little bit. So, and I think Rodgers kind of recognized that early on, and then just did what he does best.
Yeah, just efficient and touchdowns.
Yep.
Jamal Williams also disappointed in what a lot of people thought would be a very sneaky flex play there. 3.8 fantasy points. Mm-hmm. Brutal. Lions side, Matthew Stafford. Just was kind of Stafford. He ended up getting injured.
Yeah, he got hurt
pretty late.
What was it? Early fourth quarter.
Yeah,
and so he missed pretty much a whole quarter of football. So.
Yeah, he was trying to rush in to the end zone, I believe, and just got crumpled over. But put up a touchdown, 244 yards, 14.36 fantasy points. DeAndre Swift came out and did his thing, 7 carries, 24 yards, and a touchdown, 4 receptions for 26 yards. Kerryon Johnson snuck in a touchdown.
A vulture touchdown.
Vulture touchdown from DeAndre. 3 yards, 2 carries, 1 reception for 10 yards. So really, on his 3 touches, vulture to touchdown.
Yeah.
Lovely. Adrian Peterson didn't do a whole lot. And then for the receivers, not a lot to be said. Danny Amendola led the way with 66 yards, 9.6 points. Marvin Jones, 6.8 points. TJ Hawkinson, though. TJ Hawkinson in the scary, crappy, terrible tight end landscape got 6 receptions, 43 yards, and a touchdown.
And he's starting to round into form.
Yeah.
He's looking good.
He's getting targeted. No Kenny Golladay there is certainly helping him. Mm-hmm. And I doubt that we see Kenny Golladay the rest of the way.
I forget what podcast I heard it on, but apparently he posted a video of him dancing with his wife or something like that on Instagram. So... I wonder if this is a little bit of posturing because he's going to be a free agent this year and doesn't want to further hurt himself when the Lions aren't really in it for anything,
I think that has a lot to do with it. I think he's trying to hold out, stay relatively healthy and not put anything at risk going into free agency.
Yep.
Because he wants a contract, and if he goes out and tears his ACL for a team that's not making the playoffs, it's going to hurt contract negotiations in the offseason.
Yes, it will.
So that was our jackpot matchup for the week last week. And let's get into the preview. Alex, we got 2 Saturday games.
Yeah, we do.
2 Saturday games this week. That's wild. And you know what? There's a game on Friday next week on Christmas Day.
That's weird.
We will
no more Thursday night games, but we'll have a Friday night game.
Yeah, after next week, we will have had an NFL game on every day of the week this year.
Did we have Wednesday night football?
Yeah. Wednesday Night Football was at
No, it wasn't even Wednesday. It was like Wednesday afternoon football.
It was Wednesday afternoon football.
That's right.
That was in week 12, wasn't it? The week 12 Ravens and Steelers. Yeah, that one that got postponed 3 times.
That's right. That is right.
We will have had a game on
NFL owns the week
on every day of the week this year. That is so weird.
Yeah.
That is so weird to see games on Tuesday and Wednesday. And there's usually some on Saturday towards the end of the season. Mm-hmm. But we got 2 Saturday games this week. And starting out, we've got the Buffalo Bills going up against the Denver Broncos. My Denver Broncos, who actually did something last week. Drew Lock, surprisingly, put up 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Had himself a great fantasy week when nobody was starting him.
Yep. Unless you had to.
Just lovely, man. Just lovely. So, Drew Lock taking on the Buffalo Bills a little bit different than taking on the Carolina Panthers. Buffalo Bills defense has been playing a lot more stout lately. Mm-hmm. So that's a little bit scary when you look at the Broncos side. If you have the Buffalo Bills defense, I'd start them up because the Broncos do lead the NFL in turnovers. Hopefully Drew Lock can recapture a little bit of magic. Hopefully he's got some confidence, some swag coming off the win last week. I doubt it. I'm not starting Drew Lock. But Tim Patrick, I feel pretty decent about Tim Patrick.
Yeah.
I mean, he just continues to get it done. 1 touchdown last week, I believe.
Yeah, Locke likes him some Patrick, that's for sure.
Don't fall for KJ Hamler. I love KJ Hamler. I think he's going to be great. Stud, speedy wide receiver. He had 2 touchdowns on 2 touchdowns on 2 receptions.
Very efficient.
Both bombs, 86 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then Jerry Jeudy I think he received quite a few targets last week, if I remember right, but just really not getting it done. And going into round 2 of your playoffs here, I'm not starting Jerry Jeudy. I'd say of Denver, Tim Patrick and Melvin Gordon, probably your only 2 people that you should consider starting.
Yeah, for sure.
Buffalo Bills side is pretty easy. You start Josh Allen, you start Stephon Diggs. Is John Brown playing in this one?
He's not. He's out.
That's what I thought he was out. So you could probably feel pretty good about Cole Beasley in a flex spot for a PPR perspective there. Running backs, not starting. I don't want to start either of the running backs.
I just don't have any confidence on either one. You know, I mean, it can be at any moment that, Sean McDermott can just decide that, okay, I'm going to roll with him the rest of the game. And then they won't really do a whole lot. So.
Exactly. So I'd stay away from the running backs there. And then also none of the tight ends for the Bills are really worth starting either. So There you go. All right, next one.
Do we want to recap the Thursday night game since it happened? I mean, I know
we talked a lot about it at the beginning. I think we're good.
Okay.
We pretty much covered it.
Yeah, just a quick one. Chargers did win 30-27 in overtime there, and I tell you what, if you had Justin Herbert, Darren Waller, Josh Jacobs, on the outside chance that you started Marcus Mariota for some reason, you were a happy camper. You're a really happy camper.
I got nobody else to throw in. I'm putting in Marcus Mariota, man.
Even the Chargers' young wide receivers had a great game. Jalen Guyton and Tyron Johnson both had good games.
That they did. Mike Williams and Keenan Allen didn't play a whole heck of a lot in this one. They were both very limited. So,
Just your opinion for the quick dynasty question. Where do you see these younger guys? I mean, obviously, Herbert's having some great connection with Guyton and Johnson. You see these guys being an integral part later on, and then maybe moving on from a guy like Mike Williams, or
I mean, I could see it for sure if they're.
I think Keenan Allen, they're going to want to keep him there as long as they can. That's like a safe floor for him.
I think he's got a multi-year contract in place. I'm pretty sure.
And then Hunter Henry's a free agent this year.
Oh, that's right.
They didn't
I forgot about that.
So
I mean, they're worth a stash for sure. I'm not going to go out and overpay for any of them, but I think they're worth a stash if you could I think most dynasty leagues only go up to like 4th round rookie picks. We're crazy and have 7 rounds of rookie picks, but I would consider going and throwing out some late round picks just to see if you could get them, put them on your taxi squad or on the end of your, if you have a deep bench.
Guyton is 6'1", 212. That's pretty good measurables, and he seems pretty quick. And then Tyron Johnson is 6'1". Do they have a weight here? No, I don't see a weight here for him. But he's catching all these deep bombs, and so it's looks like 2 promising wide receivers for sure. So if like you were saying, if you could stash them on your bench and just see what happens here in the next year or so, you might have a little bit of gold there in one of them, possibly.
Possibly. Like I said, worth a stash.
All right, next matchup. We got Carolina Panthers taking on the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, jackpot! Wow!
Jackpot matchup, baby! Woo! So, yes, we did deem this as our jackpot matchup of the week.
Saturday game.
Saturday
night football.
Saturday
jackpot.
night football, people. On the Packers
Saturday
side,
night's all right.
I see what you did there.
Yep.
On the Packers side of the ball, it's really easy, peeps. Just start Aaron Rodgers. You're starting Devontae Adams. You're starting Robert Tonyan. And Aaron Jones, I know he had kind of a disappointing week last night. Or not last night, but last week. But I would fire him up as well with confidence. And then, I don't know, maybe an MVS kind of... I would say this. If you are going up against... anyone that just went off or a combination of people that went off last night in the Thursday night game, you might need kind of a Hail Mary. MVS is the type of guy that could catch 2 deep bombs from Aaron Rodgers and have a 20-plus point game in 2 series. So,
yeah, that's true. I mean, if you've got like a floor play of say you started Keenan Allen.
Yeah, and he did not impress.
Yeah, if you started Keenan Allen and you went up against, I don't know, Justin Herbert, Darren Waller, and
Josh Jacobs.
If you've got like a floor play of, I don't know, like
your opponent has 72 points right now,
and you started Keenan Allen, you've got that floor play of like Melvin Gordon or something in your flex. Maybe you throw an MVS type, deep bomb. Potentially 2 deep touchdowns.
Yeah, you're looking for a Hail Mary to get you caught back up. So just something to think about in the position you're in. I wouldn't necessarily endorse him as a surefire play, but something to consider depending on where you're at after the Thursday game and the early Saturday game, and then just predicting what might be ahead of you as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, for sure.
On the Panthers side of the ball, still no Christian McCaffrey. He was ruled out again this week, so fire up Mike Davis.
I think he's still doubtful right now, but I think we all know.
He's not going
to he's not going to play.
So fire up Mike Davis. Teddy Bridgewater, I like Teddy Bridgewater to do well in this game, trying to keep up with the Green Bay Packers' offensive firepower. Robbie Anderson. DJ Moore is going to be back. I like both of those guys. And if Curtis Samuel is deemed healthy, not a bad flex start.
Yeah. I like Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore a whole lot more if Curtis Samuel doesn't go, too.
One of them will get the shadow treatment, I believe, from Jair Alexander.
Yeah, probably. Jinx, you owe me a soda.
But, no, I mean, I still think that with the points that the Packers can put up, that all those wide receivers can have a pretty decent game.
For sure. That is the jackpot matchup of the week. Packers versus Panthers. Next matchup, we got the Houston Texans taking on the Indianapolis Colts. On the Texans side of the ball, Deshaun Watson does not have the weapons that he once had, but you got to start Deshaun Watson. I believe it.
I'm doing it.
You got to do it. It's Deshaun Watson, man.
I forget where I heard it, but I think Mike Clay said it. He's been quarterback 3 for the last 5 games.
Yeah.
And he's had some, the Bears and the Colts.
Yep.
He's had some pretty daunting matchups. So
he just does what he does.
Yes.
When he does what he does.
He do what he do when he do.
That's right. Brandon Cooks, you can probably fire up if he is going to be good to go this week. I believe he's still listed as questionable. But
he actually had a full participation today.
Okay, perfect.
And he has no injury designation. So Brandon Cooks ready to roll.
There we go. I would fire up Brandon Cooks. He's probably going to get quite a bit of volume this week. Kiki QT, I think, could be a sneaky flex start in this one. I believe it was the fantasy footballers who talked about how Kiki QT just eats up the Colts, man. Like every game that
Kiki Colty?
That's exact. I believe they were talking about how like every time he's played the Colts, he puts up like multiple reception, like 100-yard games. Ugh. So I think Kiki QT be a sneaky flex start there, and then David Johnson. I think you're starting up David Johnson. He has been reliable this season when he's played. Just kind of been one of those guys that's going to be between running back 10 and running back 20 in that range.
And that's another huge endorsement for Deshaun Watson is just he's getting 2 of his big weapons back in David Johnson and Brandon Cooks.
Yep.
So that's going to help him out.
So, you can start Cooks, you can start Johnson, you can start Watson, and if you need to in a sneaky flex spot, you could probably start QT. On the Colts side of the ball, I think you're firing up Jonathan Taylor. I think you can also start Nyheim Hines in a flex position going up against what has been the worst rushing defense in the NFL over the last few weeks. They're just bad. They're just really bad against the run. T.Y. Hilton, you start. He's been on fire the last 3 weeks, and he always eats up the Texans. I don't think they've ever stopped him. So T.Y. Hilton, fire him up for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Mike Hilton, he's going to be one of those guys kind of like MVS, in that vein of MVS, where if you're looking for a potential like high upside, you need a guy that can catch the ball once and take it to the house sort of thing. He runs the one slant route across the middle. I don't even know if it's a slant or a dig maybe, but he just goes right across the middle. Old Phillip Rivers just catches him. And
I feel like that. Whenever we see a big play from him, that's the route. It's that drag route.
That's exactly what it is, yeah. I don't know that we've ever seen another big play from him.
Yeah.
But again, he's kind of in the vein of MVS there. And then Phillip Rivers, I
like him. I think he's a viable streaming option this week going up against the Texans.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right, next one.
Next matchup, we get the Lions going up against the Titans. On the Lions side of the ball, there's not really a whole lot that I'm too positive on starting. We're unsure as of this moment if Matt Stafford is going to be playing or not. I'm sure they're going to take that right up to game time, just seeing how he feels. Matt Stafford is he toughs it out quite a bit with injuries. So
he is a tough dude.
We'll see. TJ Hawkinson, I would probably still start him as well, even if it is Chase Daniels that's going to be the quarterback. DeAndre Swift, I think he can still have some success on the ground game. Probably a good little flex option there. Outside of that, Marvin Jones, if Matt Stafford isn't starting, I'm not starting Marvin Jones. So stay away from that.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't either.
And on the Titans side of the ball, man, smash matchup for Derrick Henry, for Ryan Tannehill, for A.J. Brown, Corey Davis. Smash start all of those guys.
Oh, if you managed to trade for Derrick Henry before this playoff run, good on you. Good on you.
You're doing fantasy football right.
I think he needs to average over the next 3 weeks, including week 17. I think he needs to average like 150 yards in order to hit 2,000 rushing yards. He needs to average like 200 yards over the next 3 weeks in order to break the NFL rushing record. And going up against the likes of the Lions,
I mean,
they could do that.
he could get 300 of it in this game. So
do you think they're looking at that? Do you think? Derrick Henry's got to be looking at it.
I know he is, but the team as well.
The team,
that they obviously have playoff aspirations, and they're going to be in the playoffs. So I don't know. It's such a touchy line. Honestly, if I were a head coach, I want Derrick Henry primed and ready to rock and roll for the playoffs. I don't want him hurt or exhausted after we force-fed him the ball
trying to get the record.
To get the record.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there.
So
for sure. I was just wondering what you thought about it, because it's got to be on the minds. But you're right. Like, if I was in the position as a head coach, that's what I would be. It's
probably not the first. Hey, that's Derrick, probably not priority.
I just want you to know, like, we know that the record's there. We appreciate that you're that close to getting it, but if we win another game here and we're in a good playoff position spot, we want to keep you healthy and rested.
So that you sit him week 17 if they have it locked up.
Yeah, so that you can do this in the playoffs.
Yes, we want that when it matters most.
So, and I'm sure Derrick Henry would actually appreciate that too. Mm-hmm. He would rather see his team win a Super Bowl than probably break the rushing record.
Oh, most definitely.
Next one.
Next matchup.
All right, next one is the Chicago Bears taking on the Minnesota Vikings here. And Mitch Trubisky been looking okay.
A sneaky little start.
Yeah, the Vikings don't have a great secondary, don't have a great defense in general there. I think Mitch Trubisky could actually be streamable this week. I'm playing him in that league that I commission in a super flex spot.
Because you have to.
Well, it's him and Chase Daniel, so
oh gosh,
that's what I got for quarterbacks. It's a super flex, deep dynasty.
It's a little scary that it is week 15 and you're trusting Mitch Trubisky, but
I literally have
no other option.
I literally have no other options.
So just something to consider.
But he's been looking pretty darn good. Has a pretty good connection with Cole Kmet, who's been coming on. I think you can probably start Cole Kmet in a tight end spot, depending on what your other options are there. But
I'd start him, especially going up against the Vikings.
Yeah, definitely. And everybody talked about somebody I heard was talking about how they were scared of Cole Kmet this week because Jimmy Graham got the touchdown last week. But if you look at it, Kmet got pretty much the majority of the looks, got the yardage. I think Kmet's a good start there. Allen Robinson, obviously start him up.
Oh, yeah.
David Montgomery, you smash start him.
Yes, please.
And then for the Bears, that's probably it.
Yeah, don't mess around with other
I wouldn't
pieces.
Mess with Anthony Miller or Darnell Mooney there. For the Minnesota Vikings, I'm scared of Kirk Cousins in this one, going up against the Bears. But you have to start Adam Thielen. You have to start Justin Jefferson. You have to start Dalvin Cook, obviously. Irv Smith could be pretty good, pretty sneaky tight end start here.
You might lower expectations on all these guys, though, because the Bears have a stingy defense.
Yeah, I would expect more of a floor, but the Bears are pretty god-awful against tight ends. So
there you go.
Is Kyle Rudolph out? I believe Kyle Rudolph is out this week. So Irv Smith, going up against the Bears, I would fire him up in a tight end spot.
There you go.
All right, next one.
We got my Seahawks going up against the Washington football team.
Mm-hmm.
Seahawks side of the ball, you're starting up Russell Wilson, although I would temper expectations because this Washington football team's defensive line is straight up nasty.
Yeah,
and
Chase Young's wanting to eat Russell Wilson's face.
Oh, my goodness. And the few times that we have seen Russ struggle this year, it's against just stout defensive lines that have been getting through the O-line and making Russ run for his life, essentially. So temper expectations. You probably don't have a better option, but I would not be surprised if Russell Wilson doesn't have one of his blow-up games in this game. So
yeah, that's true.
Very, very much thinking floor this game. DK Metcalf, you're starting him. Chris Carson, I'm still starting up Chris Carson. Tyler Lockett, you probably don't have a better option. Like we talked about last week, he didn't really do a whole lot, but at the same time, there's always that chance where Lockett and Wilson are just humming, and he goes off for 200 yards and a couple of touchdowns. So
he had a game that didn't kill you. He was like 5 for 50 something last week.
It wasn't terrible. It just
a floor game from Lockett.
Just floor, which it's been mainly floor this year. So I think you still got to start him and hope that he just goes off this game.
That ceiling is insane, though.
It's ridiculous. Peaks and valleys. On the Washington football side, man, there is not a lot that I am confident in starting on this side. Maybe Logan Thomas. That's about it.
Yeah. I mean, even Terry McLaurin, man, has not been doing well. I mean, with Haskins back, maybe he gets targeted a bit more. Maybe he gets a little bit more success. The Seahawks defense is not the smash start spot that it was before.
They've been playing a lot better as of late. They've been getting a lot healthier too.
Yeah, if I could find a pivot option for Terry McLaurin, I would.
And the same thing for J.D. McKissick. I mean, I know Antonio Gibson's doubtful, but even if he is deemed out, I'd feel a heck of a lot better if Alex Smith was starting because McKissick can get those checkdowns. Yeah. Now, I don't know if maybe a week of practice and Haskins is going to start checking it down to McKissick or not, but from what we saw last week, I don't feel good about it at all. Haskins was not looking to check it down.
No.
And McKissick wasn't really getting a whole lot of running room either. So it's a bummer because I have J.D. McKissick in the big league.
I know
you. I really wanted to start him, but I'm scared off it now.
Yeah, I would be too if I were you.
So
I'd stay away.
Yep.
All right, next one we got the New England Patriots taking on the Miami Dolphins. Get a division matchup here with the Dolphins as the favorites over the Patriots for the first time in long time. I think it's been like 7-something years, right around 7 years since the Dolphins have been favored in a game against the Patriots. I don't expect anything from any Patriots in this one. We saw the Dolphins turn the ball over from Patrick Mahomes 3 times last week.
Oof.
So the Chiefs still walloped them for the majority of that game. It ended up being a pretty good game there at the end. But, I mean, they picked off Mahomes 3 times. He only had 2 interceptions the entire season before this. Mm-hmm. That defense is for real there. Tua's starting to look a little bit more poised, I believe, starting to develop a little bit more chemistry, connection with his weapons there. Mm-hmm. I believe Gesicki, Parker, and
they all got limited practices in today.
Yeah, they were
Parker,
all
Gesicki,
limited.
and Grant.
That's who it was.
All got limited practices in today, and they're all questionable. So
yeah,
it sounded really dire starting the week. Like Lynn Bowden Jr. could just get peppered all day long with targets, but now it sounds like there's possibility that all those guys could be available.
Yeah, I would just keep an eye on it and just make sure you check the actives, inactives before the game. If Gesicki goes, you start Gesicki. I mean, unless
you got a better option.
He's been tearing it up, man.
He has, but speaking of somebody that has known shoulder injuries from the past, they can happen really fast, especially the dislocation. I mean, you can do whatever you want for a week, physical therapy and all that, but man, it can slip out from just hitting the ground hard after one catch. So
I would probably start Irv Smith and Cole Kmet over him this week. But
yes,
I mean, man, he has been. I mean, with Tua in there, Tua's been looking
Logan
his way.
Thomas over him.
Yeah, I'd start Logan Thomas over him.
But I think of one. Eric Ebron over him.
Ooh,
going up against Bengals.
I'd probably go Gesicki there.
I think I'd go Ebron.
Yeah, that's close.
Against the Bengals?
I don't know. I feel like if he's active, I'd probably go Gesicki over Ebron.
Higbee over Gesicki?
Ooh.
Rams going up against the Jets.
Yeah, that's true. Got
some good ones for you.
Yeah, I'd probably go Higbee there. But, yeah, I'd probably go Higbee.
Dalton Schultz against Gesicki?
The Niners, I'd go Gesicki.
Okay.
Gesicki! But, on the Dolphins side of the ball, is Gaskin going to play?
He's not. He's still on the COVID list.
Okay.
I only know so much because he's on my
I know. Man, I'm not really feeling great about this game in general.
I think it's going to be super slow pace. For one, it's Bill Belichick going up against another rookie quarterback. And what does Bill Belichick do to rookie quarterbacks? He eats them for lunch.
He does.
So he's going to throw things that Tua has never seen before. And look what he did to Herbert earlier this year. I mean, all the rookie quarterbacks. I mean,
this is going to be...
Rookie quarterbacks, I think, in Bill Belichick's time, has only been beaten by 2 rookie quarterbacks. And I think one was Roethlisberger, and the other one, I can't remember the other one.
That's wild.
Rookie quarterbacks did not have good days against Bill Belichick.
Yeah, I really don't like any of the options in this game, to be honest. If I can pivot away from this game, I'd want to. If you want the opposite of a jackpot matchup, that's what this is. This is you walk into the casino, bet all your money and your house.
And then you walk right out.
In your car, and then it's gone.
You bet 100 on black and it rolls red, you head out.
If any of those guys, Gesicki, Parker, if they end up being inactive, then Lynn Bowden, you could probably put in a flex spot. But
is it Bowden or Bowden?
I think it's Bowden. Oh, okay. Pretty sure it's Bowden. Anyway.
Just asking for a friend, would you start Patriots defense or Miami defense in this?
Oh, both.
I only have an option for one.
You only have the option for one. I'd probably start Miami, man.
I got Patriots in there right now just because of the sheer fact of what Belichick does to rookie quarterbacks.
Especially if Parker and Gesicki and them are inactive, then yeah, I guess I would go Patriots.
I know Dolphins defense is for real.
I would go Patriots, but yeah, if you got to decide between those two, that's tough.
Well, here, my dynasty ones, I've got Patriots, Dolphins, and Chiefs. And Chiefs are going up against the Saints, so I've thrown them out. So it's Dolphins or Patriots. But I currently have the Patriots in right now. So I'm sure I'll waffle on it later on.
That's a tough one. I'd go Dolphins unless any like Gesicki or Parker sit. Then
probably
I'd go Patriots.
Probably something I'm going to have to pay attention to.
All right, next one.
We've got the Jaguars going up against the Ravens. On the Jaguars side of the ball, same song, different week. You know, guys, Jaguars, the only person that I am feeling confident in starting is James Robinson. Yeah. That's it, really. Gardner Minshew is going to start this week, though, so maybe good news for DJ Chark. I don't know.
I imagine that he'd get...
It's got to be better than Mike Glennon, right?
Targeted, but... Going up against the Ravens defense, I would think it's going to be better than Mike Glennon. Mike Glennon.
Outside of James Robinson, I'm not starting any other Jaguar with confidence.
Yeah,
if you're desperate, start DJ Chark.
It's just too hard to pick a receiver there at this point because any given week it could be Keelan Cole,
Laviska Shenault,
exactly. DJ Chark. So, if you had to pick one, I'd pick DJ Chark. I personally would be staying away from it if I could.
Tyler Eifert, don't.
No.
Just don't.
No, James Robinson, that's
James Robinson. Ravens side of the ball, you're starting Lamar Jackson. Looks like he's feeling it. Well, I mean, he had a great game last week. Hopefully he can pick apart this Jaguars secondary and maybe give himself a confidence boost with his throwing. His throwing has been off all year long. Just, man, if there's one thing that he needs to work on the offseason, it is accuracy.
Yeah. He did come out against the Browns, ended up getting the win in that really, really fun Monday night game. Which I don't know how we haven't talked about that. That was amazing. That was such a fun game.
It was a fun game.
That was a fun game to watch. That was game of the year, in my opinion. Absolute blast. But looked a lot more like the 2019 version of Lamar Jackson in that one.
It's I understand.
He never was big passing volume. I mean, even last year, even in 2019, but just getting the rushing going and having that threat available and just being able to have kind of those open passing lanes that he ended up getting against the Browns.
That comes from the rushing and getting that and gashing the defense for rushes. So then they have to commit to Lamar and then he can pop it over the top of him. But
no,
even in this game that he did well, he only completed 11 for 17 for 163 yards and 1 touchdown.
That's just Lamar Jackson's game, though, man. I mean, he doesn't typically go over 200 yards passing. I mean,
it's just, oh, man.
That's not what he is. He's like anywhere from 50 to 100 yards rushing and 150 yards passing. Get those touchdowns.
I heard on a podcast a couple of days ago, somebody said that they were very much reminded of the way that Colin Kaepernick went his last few years with what Lamar Jackson is doing. And it's pretty interesting because I'm having a brain fart on the guy's name. The quarterback coach that worked with Colin Kaepernick that they brought into Baltimore to help with Lamar and integrate that system.
Oh, yeah.
I'm blanking on his name anyways. Too. But they're saying, you got that same guy working with Lamar that worked with Colin Kaepernick, and what happened? Passing yardage and receiving yardage. In the beginning, Kaepernick, he was all right. He was about mid-200s, upper 200s sometimes, and then a decent rushing floor. But then as time went on, all that his accuracy went away, passing yards went away, and the rushing was all he had, and that's what people keyed on the entire time. So just a little scary. A little scary hearing that.
Interesting.
But anyways, we digress, people. Mark Andrews, you're starting up Mark Andrews.
Oh, yeah.
Ravens' number 1 receiving option on the team.
Yep.
Hollywood Brown, if you need a dart throw.
If he's taken off the COVID list.
If he is taken off the COVID list in time.
He scored in the last 3 games, so it's kind of a...
They've been really fluky touchdowns.
It's kind of a dart throw.
They're Hail Mary bombs, but he's done it. And then J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. I would start Dobbins with confidence, Gus Edwards as a flex.
Yep. I like it. All right, next one, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going up against the Atlanta Falcons. On the Falcons side of the ball, real easy for you. You're starting Calvin Ridley, and that's it.
That is it.
That is
the only person that you start with confidence.
There's no Julio Jones in this game. He is out. That means Matt Ryan is off the table. That means Hayden Hurst is off the table. The run game there, awful. Going up against the best rushing defense in the NFL.
Just don't.
Don't even do it. Don't even do it.
Save yourself.
Man, so Calvin Ridley, that's it. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady. I'd fire up Tom Brady going up against the Falcons here.
Oh, yeah.
I think he can throw on them quite well. All the wide receivers healthy. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown.
I think Evans is still dealing with a little hamstring injury, but he's been deemed active the last 3 weeks that he's been dealing with it.
Right. So I would start Mike Evans. I would start Chris Godwin. Staying away from Antonio Brown.
Just hasn't had any huge games yet. And I'm sure a lot of it is coming in. When did he come in? Week 11? Week 10, week 11?
It was week 11, I believe.
Yeah, so I think he's still getting up to speed, and the fact that he didn't have half the year in an off season, he's not going to have any huge games.
He lost his mind.
Well, that too. He's lost his marbles. So,
that's a struggle. Start Rob Gronkowski, and then pay attention to Ronald Jones. I
personally, I want to stay away from the running backs on this game. On the Buccaneers
I probably
side
would
anyways.
too. The Falcons are pretty good against the run, actually surprisingly good against the run. But yeah, I'm with you. I mean, Leonard Fournette would probably end up being the 1-2 down back.
If I had to, yeah, Fournette.
But then they're bringing in, I would think, LaShawn McCoy on third downs. Potentially Keyshawn Vaughn.
Yeah, I just would not have any confidence in any of the Buccaneers running backs. If I had to, you had to, but...
Yeah, I do think if Ronald Jones is inactive, then Fournette will be activated. Well, he'll be active and probably the first, second down back there. But, yeah,
not going to feel good about it.
No, if you absolutely have to, then I guess you put him in, but... All right.
Next matchup, 49ers and the Cowboys. On the 49ers side of the ball, sounds like Raheem Mostert is good to go. They deemed Kyle Shanahan says that he is ready to roll and he will be in the game on Sunday, which was very surprising for a lot of people.
That was very surprising. A lot of people were smashing Jeff Wilson this week thinking that Raheem Mostert would not be started. So this kind of muddies the waters
a little bit for
me.
Wilson, but I think you can still start Wilson as a flex because I think it'll be more of a split timeshare than it will be towards Mostert's side, especially if he's still kind of dealing with that lingering injury.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, going up against the Cowboys too. Dallas, terrible rush defense, terrible defense in general.
Deebo Samuels was ruled out for the rest of the year, right?
Yeah, he's done for the regular season.
For the regular season with a hamstring injury, so he's going to be out for at least this game and next week as well. Smash start Brandon Ayuk. That's about all you can really do for that. George Kittle was put into the practice window for being activated off the IR. Yeah. He did practice this week, but Shanahan said that he's not going to play this week, maybe next week. So he could come back just in time for your fantasy championship. If you've made it. If he is somehow out there on the waiver wire and you can stash him on your end of your bench or in your IR slot, go snag him, especially if you're playing for anything that is, of value, the championship game or third place game, do it.
Yeah, for sure. I'll go pick him up and I'm in the toilet bowl.
Do it. Do it.
Just so I don't get last.
I would do that. Is something to play of value. You don't want to get last.
Don't want to get last.
Because you either receive a punishment or draft a defense in the third round.
Ugh.
Which, everyone has drafted a defense.
I know.
No one's taking the punishment.
I
had the option for the punishment one year, and all you guys wanted to do was inflict pain onto me.
That was just because it was you.
Yeah. Yeah, so what do you think I'm going to do?
Oh, man.
There were no fun options. It was just, how can we hurt you as badly as we can as we can without going to jail and having a laugh about it?
I like the one that we came up with that ended up getting welched on, but...
Yeah, we won't go into that.
No, we don't need to. I'm just saying, I liked that idea, though.
And it wasn't that bad.
We could use that idea again at some point.
Yeah, somebody could, Cowboys side of the ball, man, going up against the 49ers, I'm not really sold on anyone. If I had to pick, maybe Amari Cooper. Andy Dalton seems to like to throw to him. Ezekiel Elliott dealing with that calf injury. I'm not confident in starting Ezekiel Elliott at all. I would pivot it if I could. CeeDee Lamb, man, no thanks.
Nope.
For the tight end desperate, maybe Dalton Schultz, but just not a lot.
Amari Cooper,
that's about it.
Zeke if he plays.
Even if he plays, I'm nervous.
Tony Pollard?
That's a real dart throw. If I knew Zeke was sitting, I would smash Tony Pollard for sure.
Yeah.
But something to check in on Sunday. But it sounds like Zeke's going to play.
Yeah, and he just has not been good. And with that lingering injury, I mean, you got to start him if you have him and he plays. But
you don't have to.
I know, I get you don't have to, but
I have him in a league where I don't have to, and I'm not.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Next matchup,
we got the Philadelphia Eagles going up against the Arizona Cardinals, and Jalen Hurts provided a spark to this Philadelphia Eagles team. Got the win over the Saints last week. Got the surprise win there, and I think Jalen Hurts could be a pretty darn good stream start at quarterback here. His rushing ability last week looked really good, and he wasn't just like randomly rushing. He was, going through some like a few of his reads, and then he'd take off, or if he saw open space in front of him while his receivers were man covered or whatever, then he took off, got some good yards there. And I think believe I heard the Arizona Cardinals have been one of the worst defenses for rushing quarterbacks. So so for Jalen Hurts, that's a pretty good start right there. Dallas Goddard, I'd feel pretty decent.
Worse as in best to start your running quarterback against.
Right. That's what I meant. Like, they're not very good against running quarterbacks.
They're not good at containing rushing quarterbacks.
Correct. Exactly. That's what I meant. Dallas
I can
Goddard.
understand how that's confusing.
Yeah. Dallas Goddard, I'd feel all right starting him in a tight end spot there. Any of the wide receivers on your mind here?
No.
I mean,
No.
I don't think so. You probably have better options.
If I had to, Jalen Reagor.
Especially
That's about it.
if you have advanced, you're in the second round of your playoffs and you're trying to get into that championship game.
You don't want to rely on one of these guys unless you had to.
I'd move on. For the Cardinals, for the Eagles, I think you can start Miles Sanders. He was on the field for 80% of snaps, I believe, with Jalen Hurts, and before that, he was sitting at around 50%, 60% in that range.
I think at this point you have to.
And
and especially after he ripped off, what was that, 82-yard run last week? I'm starting.
Just look good. And rushing quarterbacks tend to help running backs.
They can help or hurt. I will say that.
I mean, on the goal line, they can definitely hurt. But just as far as like opening things up, I believe that they help. So in between the 20s for sure, I think they help them. But yeah, I think with Miles Sanders, you just got to fire him up at this point. Arizona Cardinals side, Kyler Murray finally looked a lot better this last week. I think feel good about firing Kyler Murray up. DeAndre Hopkins, obviously. And Kenyon Drake, I think Kenyon Drake could be a pretty good start here. Is Chase Edmonds, was he ruled out or is he...
He got a limited practice in today and is deemed questionable. So
okay.
I think they might give Drake more of the carries, though.
I would think so too, yeah.
Let Edmonds kind of heal up. So,
but Kenyon Drake been looking a lot better since he got back from injury too. Even though his snap share kind of went down a little bit after that. But I'd feel pretty good about Kenyon Drake. Not going to start Dan Arnold.
No.
He's been hot with touchdowns lately, but I'm just not trusting it.
I mean, unless you have just terrible options, then do it. But it's touchdown or bust with Arnold.
And then any of the other receivers there, I'm staying away from as well.
Yeah, don't do it. Next matchup, we got the New York Jets going up against the Los Angeles Rams. Jets side of the ball, let's make this real quick. If Jamison Crowder is available, I probably would consider him, but that's about it. Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. I mean, outside of that, the backfield is so muddy with Frank Gore, LaMichael Perrine.
Oh, he's on IR. It's
Tyler
Johnson.
Tyler Johnson. Yeah. So just
stay away going up against this Rams defense.
Stay away from them.
I would not start any Jets.
Jets
in
are
my
going to get
playoff
eaten
round.
alive. On the Rams side of the
Jets.
ball, Robert Woods has been tending to an injury, but he had a full practice in today, and McVay says he's good to go. So start Robert Woods with confidence. Start Cooper Kupp.
Fire him up.
Cam Akers.
Fire him up.
And Jared Goff.
Fire him up.
There you go. Higby.
Fire him up.
There you go. Fire up most all of your Rams against these Jets.
That's right.
And your Rams defense, smash.
Oh, fire it up.
That is exactly what I'm doing.
You fire that Rams defense up. They're going to get you 30 points this week.
You know what sucks? If they get me 30 points in the big league, that's 30 points going against me in the Dynasty League.
Oh, that's the hard part about playing multiple leagues.
And you know what sucks is that if DK Metcalf and Tyreek Hill have a great week for me in the Dynasty, it's going up against me in the big league. It is really mixed this week for me, folks.
Ooh.
It's bad.
This is why you just do what I do, and you just try to make your teams just as closely matched as possible, and then you end up just sucking in both leagues.
you either go big or you go home.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
All right, next matchup.
Trust me, if I could have had DK and Tyreek, I would have loved to have them.
Oh, I know. Next one, we got Kansas City Chiefs taking on the New Orleans Saints, and we thought about this one for jackpot matchup here because Chiefs are going to chief. I mean, even going up against the stingy Saints defense.
Oh, man, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. We saw Patrick Mahomes get picked off 3 times last week and still exploded.
Yeah. It doesn't matter at this point.
It doesn't matter.
He is as matchup proof as they come.
Yeah. So you start your big 3, Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce.
Yes.
Obviously. I'm not feeling great about Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
I am full tilt on him, and he is on my bench currently.
I'm just not feeling good about him. I'd be starting.
I am starting Nyheim Hines over.
I was going to
Clyde
say
Edwards-Helaire.
I was going to say I would start the likes of Nyheim Hines.
Would you start
over
J.D. McKissick over Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
Not now.
Not
I
now.
probably would have with Alex Smith in the lineup.
I would have as well.
Yeah, but with Haskins there, I would not. I would go Clyde Edwards-Helaire over that for sure.
And in the flex spot, I am starting. I had Edwards-Helaire in the flex, and I'm putting Brandon Cooks in over Edwards-Helaire. It's just
I'd probably do that too.
Yeah.
So just some ideas there.
It's just the Saints have a stout rush defense, and Edwards-Helaire. I mean, I think Andy Reid knows that it's been a tough year for rookie running backs in general. I think, and they're seeing it firsthand with Edwards-Helaire, and what we've seen in previous year. I mean, I think it was a huge disservice to all of them that they didn't really even have an off season.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, and Edwards-Helaire just hasn't provided that major spark that you'd like to see from him.
And I've heard a lot of Dynasty podcast. I mean, there are a few people out there that are big time tilting on Edwards-Helaire, saying, I've heard the word bust thrown out about him, which, I mean, I don't see how you can't do that.
No,
now.
I don't think you can do that. I think you got to wait at least one more year if you're playing Dynasty. Hang on to him, I'm not calling him a bust. I mean, he's up as a top 15.
He's actually a fringe running back 1 right now.
I know, just from
so I don't see how people can throw now his expectations being the Chiefs running back, and then after Damian Williams opted out, it was Mount Everest sky high. That's what people expected, and I feel like that's why some people have soured on him.
Well, exactly, because he was being drafted as like the number 5 overall pick in the first round. He's being drafted over the likes of Kamara,
Derrick Henry,
Nick Chubb.
Derrick Henry went right ahead of me, but I took Edwards-Helaire right after Derrick Henry. But had Henry been there, I would have taken him. But
right,
but yeah, I think I took him in our 12 team league. I took him at 9 or 10. So I mean,
yeah, you were.
I had high expectations as well, but I mean, I understand the circumstances that have. It has not been helpful for him.
He just hasn't lived up to that expectation level, which, you know what? Rookie running back, it happens. Mm-hmm. Rookie running back, no offseason. I don't think he's a bust, but
if you can find a dynasty owner in any dynasty league that is tilting on Edwards-Helaire hardcore, go get him.
Hey, how tilted are you on Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
What do you think? After all that, what I just said, what do you think?
Well, I'm just hoping you're not listening to yourself.
Okay.
All right. We digress again. Moving on. For the Chiefs, that's about it. I'm probably not going to go with any of the other pass catchers.
No.
Because it's a dart throw for them. I mean, you could start any one of them and have a great game, but I'm staying away just because you're not going to know who it is. On the Saints side of the ball, Michael Thomas is out. So Drew Brees is back in. Alvin Kamara, boom.
Oh, yeah.
Fire him up.
Jared Cook.
Always firing him up. Jared Cook, I'd start him. Boom. Boom. That's it.
Manny Sanders.
Boom. Yes, sir. Fire those guys up.
Traquan Smith. Maybe. Boom.
Maybe. But yeah, no, I like Emmanuel Sanders. I like Jerry Cook. I like Alvin Kamara in this one. Alvin Kamara?
Oh, I thought the way you said it, you're like Alan Kamara. I was like,
I might have caught my tongue.
Alan
Kamara? There's no Alan Kamara.
Alter ego.
Unless he has a brother
that's
that I don't know.
Taysom Hill,
of.
Alvin Kamara. That's Alan Kamara.
Yeah, that's exactly. When Taysom Hill starts, it's Alan.
Then it's Alan.
Alan Kamara.
It's Alan.
But it's Alvin when Drew Brees is starting.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Sunday night game.
Here it is. Matchup. I thought you were going a little bit more, but then you just threw it at me.
No.
Sunday night matchup. We got Cleveland Browns going up against the New York Giants. Mm-hmm. Browns fresh off that big-time game against the Ravens. It was wild.
Oh, man. Yeah, it was. That's such a fun game.
It was a fun game. Baker Mayfield looked great in that game.
This is 2 weeks in a row. Baker's been looking
maybe
good.
Something's finally clicked. So I hope so. I mean, it's fun watching Baker play well, but man.
We talked about it last week that we hadn't gotten to see him outside of that one game after Odell Beckham got hurt, where he threw 5 touchdown passes, and then there was bad weather for like 3 straight weeks. And then there's been a decent weather game.
There's been many more weeks, though, that's 3 weeks out of the entire NFL slate that we're going to throw out because of injury. And then
what I'm saying here is Baker is better without Odell Beckham.
When did Odell go out again?
Odell was out in week 7 or 6, I believe.
That's right. I can't remember right off the top of my head.
So he played week 6.
I will say he does look better because
he gets something in his head when Odell Beckham's out there. He's got to
force feed him targets.
He feels like he has to just force him the ball all the time. And for whatever reason, they just haven't had like the connection.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
It kills me inside because I was big on Odell. Love Odell's talent for sure, man. Love Odell's talent. But I will readily say that I think Baker is better without Odell Beckham there.
It's looking like it.
We saw him in his rookie season set the record for rookie passing touchdowns. There was no Odell there. Odell comes in and then Freddie Kitchens was also there.
Yeah.
Sure. But Baker looked terrible. And then for the first 6 weeks or so, Baker didn't look great this year. And then Odell gets hurt. And in the 3 decent weather games that Baker's had without him, he's looked pretty darn good.
Well, how do you feel
up against the Ravens defense last week too?
Yeah. How do you feel about Baker this game? Giants do have a stingy defense.
That's one thing that does give me pause is that the Giants have actually been one of the best defenses against fantasy quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. So I will say that.
Okay.
So I
temper expectations on your Baker.
I'm starting Baker in the Dynasty League, but in a super flex spot.
There you go.
So
okay. Nick Chubb, you're obviously starting Nick Chubb. Kareem Hunt, start him up as well. Mm-hmm. I think he'll provide some decent receptions in this game, especially with the Giants' defensive line. Might do some pop-down passes to Kareem.
Leading receiver against the Ravens last week.
Jarvis, I think you could probably start Jarvis all right.
I feel pretty good about Jarvis.
He's been doing all right. Staying away from Austin Hooper. He was dealing with a neck injury. He should play this week, but I'd stay away. Yeah.
I was just going to say the Giants they are going to be missing their number 1 cornerback this week too.
There you go.
I can't remember his name right now for some reason off the top of my head, but he normally plays the outside. He's not going to be there this week.
Well, there you go. Another confidence booster for Jarvis.
Yeah, I think that's helpful. I think that's helpful for Baker, for Jarvis, for Rashard Higgins. Mm-hmm. I mean,
on Giants side of the ball, man, it doesn't sound like Daniel Jones is going to be going in this game. It's going to be another Colt McCoy game. Yeah. And honestly, I don't feel good about anybody. Maybe Wayne Gallman, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Maybe Sterling Shepard too.
Probably, yeah.
If I could pivot, I would.
I just don't. I mean, the Browns' secondary is not very good, so you might be able to strike gold with one of these guys, but you're going to be hard-pressed to guess which one it's going to be. Yeah. Sterling Shepard's likely to get the targets. Evan Ingram's going to get targets, so if you need a tight end play, he's going to get targeted, but whether they're good targets or whether he can catch is going to be a whole nother thing. Mm-hmm. But
all right, last matchup.
Oh, yeah, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Cincinnati Bengals, and Monday night game, Steelers are going to roll right over the Bengals.
I would anticipate that.
Is it going to be Ryan Finley at quarterback for the Bengals?
I believe it is.
Oh, my gosh. Steelers defense.
Start your Steelers defense.
Smash. Start. I think this might be a no Bengals game.
There ain't a one that I want to start.
I don't think there's. Yeah, I don't think you start any.
If
Bengals.
I had to, Tyler Boyd. That's about it. Maybe T. Higgins. Maybe, but that's it. Tyler Boyd might be the only one if I had to pick.
That's solely off just target and volume.
Yep.
And I don't think you have much of a ceiling from either of them.
Nope.
Man, yeah. Ugh.
Steelers side of the ball?
Roethlisberger.
Yep.
Feel good about Roethlisberger. I don't trust their run game at all. If I can steer clear of their run game, even against the Bengals here,
Yep.
No.
Because we have no idea who it's going to be.
And if you absolutely have to start one, then James Conner, but ugh.
Avoid if you
I just
can.
say ugh. Eric Ebron, probably pretty good play here. And like I said, I was going back and forth. Who was that between? That was
Irv Smith or
Gesicki
Ebron.
or
Gesicki or Ebron.
Gesicki or Ebron. And yeah, I don't know. I might lean Ebron now. Like I said, I was right on the verge there.
Mm-hmm.
But
how are you dealing with these Steelers wide receivers?
Well, I think you just have to start Deontay Johnson. Like the guy has dropped so many freaking passes, but he's so dang good.
He is, but he has what we golfers like to call the yips.
Yeah.
He's got a case of the yips right now.
Major case of the yips.
The yips.
Benched for half the game last week.
Yips, the shanks. Oh man, it's a bad case of it. And when it happens, golfing, you have to stop playing for like a month, and then your brain resets, and then you come back, and it never happened.
Oh, and you see it from kickers in the NFL too, and they just get that case of the yips, and
it's terrible.
They basically just need a reset, and I don't know that he dropped anything after he came back in after his benching for half the game.
I couldn't remember.
He also, I don't think there was that many targets after that either.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is going to be a get-right game for the Steelers here. They've been on the downswing. I think they're probably talking to themselves in the locker room, coming up against the Bengals here, who are just trash. I think that this is going to be a get-right week for them, and they're thinking, hey, we're going to put it together. We got this.
Are you starting all the wide receivers with confidence then, or which ones are you confident in?
I am... Yeah. Just against.
Or how about this? Rank them in confidence level. Which one, if you had to pick?
Dude, probably still Deontay, Juju, Claypool, man. Because Claypool's been off lately, too. The Steelers as a whole have just been off.
Yeah.
When I first looked at this, I thought, smash all Steelers. And then I was like, then I had to remember back to the last 2 weeks, and I thought, actually, you know what?
No.
They've been struggle bussing
and
for
honestly,
sure.
That is why I with playoff, with your fantasy championship most likely on the line, I don't think I can start Deontay Johnson or put him number one in these wide receivers, because there is a very real chance that he goes out there, drops the first 2 balls thrown at him, and he's done for the game.
I know.
And he's benched. And I can't take that risk.
Yeah, but
that's why me personally, I would go Juju 1, because Juju's going to Juju. Maybe Claypool 2.
6 receptions for 32 yards.
But, the last time that he played the Bengals, he went off for 90 yards and a touchdown and 9 receptions. So
it's true.
It was a good matchup. And then it's like a tie between Claypool and James Washington. James Washington,
about James Washington.
They have been getting Washington more involved, especially with
because he's been
Claypool
reliable, man.
And Deontay, yeah, and he's been he catches great deep balls, and he's been catching touchdowns, and he's not dropping them.
That's very true.
He's doing exactly what Claypool and Johnson are not doing, and he's catching the ball.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's a fair point. I'm gonna tell you, in the dynasty and the League of Origin, I'm starting Deontay Johnson, because am I really gonna start Sterling Shepard, Christian Kirk?
At that point, no. But man, it is just
any of those guys over him.
It is too much of reality that Deontay Johnson drops the first couple passes thrown to him and he's benched.
That's that's fair.
And Mike Tomlin
saw it firsthand last week.
Mike Tomlin is sick of it. And he said it in the last presser too. He's like, well, maybe it was 2 pressers ago. He's like, I don't care who you are. If you can't perform a routine action routinely, you're not playing.
Yeah.
So,
no, that's yep.
and it scares.
That's completely fair. I like your
wits
take
out of
on
me.
that. I like your take on that. And I just looked at Steelers versus Bengals, and my mind immediately went to like, oh, smash everybody. And then I had to remember, like, well,
Deontay's dropping balls. Claypool's dropping balls.
Ebron's dropping balls.
Yeah.
Everybody's been dropping balls there, man. And I don't think Roethlisberger's been fully healthy.
No.
You know, I think, it was his knees a couple weeks ago. He got pretty beat up.
Yeah.
Went left for a little bit before the half and then came back after the half.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's still Roethlisberger, but
Yeah.
I don't know. If there is any game to get right, this is the week to do it.
This is it.
So if you're feeling lucky, then go ahead.
We'll do ya.
Start the rest of your. But you might be in my position too, where I would
have
rather have the ceiling of Deontay Johnson than the likely floor game from these other secondary wide receivers.
Maybe put Jared Cook in over Deontay. I think I would do that, honestly.
I don't think I'm going to do that.
Especially now with Michael Thomas out.
With Drew Brees back, it makes me think about it a little more, for sure.
I personally would
And they're
do
going to
that.
have to keep up with the Chiefs.
I would do that.
Well, it's
think
possible.
I think you probably should too.
I'm thinking about it.
Oh my gosh. Because if Jared Cook drops 2 balls, they're not benching him.
That's true. It's very true.
And Drew Brees isn't going to have another option really outside of Kamara,
Sanders. Yeah, Traquan.
I can't remember. Is Traquan healthy right now? I can't remember.
I think Traquan's okay.
Yeah.
I thought he was.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyways, while we look that up, that's the last matchup.
Hey, look at that.
We got through it.
We
went a little long-winded and kind of
you know what?
dovetailed off a little bit.
Playoff previews. We didn't talk to you for 2 weeks. We need to. We got to talk to you guys.
Yeah, we do.
Give you the breakdowns on some of these. You heard live the tilts and the decisions that were being made.
Yes.
And I'm heavily leaning towards Jared Cook over Deontay Johnson right now. As Alex made compelling arguments
I'm just saying
against some of those
you got to
Steelers
think
receivers. About. I will be thinking about it for sure. All right, that does it for the preview. We are going to do our hot prop and lock it real quick here so we don't keep you too much longer, but we're just going long. Hot Prop and Lock It, brought to you by our friends at Thrive Fantasy. You know all about Thrive Fantasy by this point. You can hashtag prop up with them and with us this coming Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
Also on Monday.
Ooh.
Hopefully you did on Thursday too. They got games for all the games.
They got
It's
games.
great.
We got games.
Everybody got games. And what you do on Thrive Fantasy, you go in, you pick player props, choose 10 of them. That sets your fantasy lineup that you pit up against all the other players. And if you get those props correct, you win money.
I like it.
Money. If you use our promo code Fantasy Chairmen or simply Chairman, then they will match up to $50 on your first deposit of $20 or more. Thrive Fantasy, download them on the App Store or the Google Play Store today or visit their website, www.thrivefantasy.com. Last week, Alex, hot prop and lock it, I sucked.
Oh, no.
I straight up sucked.
Did you?
Oh, man, Matt made up some ground on me. So let's just take a look at where the standings are. You are currently at 30. I'm at 27.
Ooh.
You gained some ground on me. And
Dang.
Matt jumped up
I'm going to be honest, I forgot what our props were, so you're going to have to
26.
remind me.
Oh, I'll jump back into them. You were sitting at 30 correct. I'm at 27. Matt's at 26. And yeah, this one was a rough week for me. We had Dalvin Cook, 81.5 rushing yards. You and I said under, Matt said over. DeAndre Hopkins, 6.5 receptions.
So wait, who got the Dalvin Cook
Oh,
one?
sorry.
Yeah.
Matt got the over.
Okay.
Dalvin Cook had 102 rushing yards. Up against that Buccaneers defense. DeAndre Hopkins, 6.5 receptions. I believe he ended up with nine receptions. It was up there.
Oh.
So all of us said under on that one.
Yeah, well.
We were expecting Kyler Murray,
We were expecting
and they
Murray.
played a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Lockett, 71.5 receiving yards. I wanted to believe in Lockett so bad this last week, And he went 5 for 54, I think. You and Matt said under. I said over. Aaron Rodgers, 306.5 passing yards. We all said under. And I convinced you of the under on that one. And he threw for 290.
Yes, you did.
Passing yards.
Yes, you did.
You're welcome. And then Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs doing Stephon Diggs things. 0.5 receiving touchdowns. You guys said over.
You got it.
I said the under. I was simply trying to be contrarian because I was just trying to gain up on Alex, and I hurt myself bad this last week. So I got 1, you got 3, Matt got 4. This week, you ready for this one?
Let's do it.
You went first on the first one last, so I'll go first.
Okay.
Jonathan Taylor, 78.5 rushing yards.
Oh God.
I'm gonna hit the over on this one. I'm hitting the over on that one.
I think I gotta say over too. Even though I'm playing him, maybe it's a little reverse jinx. But man, he's got a good matchup.
Yeah,
it's scary.
he absolutely
It's scary.
is a great matchup there. Jonathan Taylor, Nyheim Hines could both be viable starts.
Please,
In
Hines.
this one.
Please.
All right, next one we've got Wayne Gallman.
Ooh.
Wayne Gallman, 62.5 rushing plus receiving yards.
Ooh, okay.
Going up against the Cleveland Browns, 62.5 rushing plus receiving yards.
What has Gallman done lately with receiving yards? I mean, 3 for 4 for 16.
I mean, it just depends. Depends on the week.
Going against
Sometimes
Seattle,
he gets 4 or 5 targets. Other times he gets 1 or 2 targets.
0. Oh my gosh, I'm going under.
Going under 62.5.
Of course,
rushing
it's
plus
rushing
receiving.
and receiving.
It's rushing and receiving combined, sir. Combined.
How many?
62.5.
Oh my gosh. And they play
The Browns. They're playing the Cleveland Browns.
Under. Browns actually have a pretty good defensive line.
I'm going
You
over.
attack. You're just trying to catch one up.
I have to at this point. We're running out of time.
Oh,
And
man.
I fell down and I fell behind. I'm expecting a pie in the face at this point regardless, so yeah. All right, next one we've got Jared Goff at 24.5 completions. Jared
Going
Goff
up against the Jets. The
going up
Jets.
against the Jets. So they're probably going to get up pretty quick on these Jets is what I'm thinking. And then I'm thinking they're probably not going to have to pass as much. But I'm going to go with the narrative that some podcast was talking about that I listened to earlier, that this could be a game where McVay just tries to build Goff some confidence here.
Possible.
Let him air it out. I'm going to give the over on Jared Goff, 24.5 completions. Booyah! Booyakasha!
Booyakasha. I'm going to say over as well because I do think that he wants to gain Goff some confidence going into this last stretch, and especially he wants facing the Seahawks next week. He wants to make sure that his mind is right.
If there's a game to do it, it's the Jets.
Yes.
Oh.
Get it right.
Dang you, Alex. Dang you. You're the worst. Okay, here you go. How about this one? Terry McLaurin, 72.5 receiving yards.
Oh, barf. Oof. I think I got to go under. Man, I have zero confidence in Dwayne Haskins.
So do I.
Like zero. Like absolutely none.
I got to say under too.
There's no way.
I don't, yeah.
No way.
I mean, I think
unless he rips off a big one, but man, I
you
just don't see it.
When you just like look at overall like the total of the season of the Seahawks against receivers, they were historically bad against receivers for that first like 10 games. It was just awful. And I think that has been put into this line that was made for McLaurin. I mean, McLaurin obviously was really good for the first 10 games, and the Seahawks were really bad. That's kind of flipped now.
It has.
And I don't see that changing this week. I don't see this going back to what it was early in the season. So, I'm going to go under with McLaurin too. I don't think he's hitting 72.5 receiving yards.
Last 2 weeks, 14-24.
That's exactly, man.
The last 4 weeks, though. Week 11 against Cincinnati, he had 84.
Mm-hmm.
Week 12 was Dallas, 92. But those are Swiss cheese secondaries.
And that's what Seahawks secondary was.
Not anymore, really.
I just can't trust it. All right, last one. Mark Andrews, 0.5 receiving touchdowns. Mark Andrews. Baltimore Ravens going up against Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going to go over.
Over as well.
Ah, dang you, Alex. All right, I have the chance to make up one this week. So that's awesome. I think the ice cream truck is
in December. What was that?
I don't know if the mics picked that up or not. If you guys heard that little music, just right outside, just a little ice cream
it's like some
truck thing, or maybe
and it's dark out.
Yeah, it kind of, or maybe like a little parade, like
Oregon. Yeah, but who's having a parade in December? What in the world? There's no parade today.
Nope, not in December, not COVID December.
What in the world was that?
I don't know. That was wild. I
like how we both paused and looked at the window like, what?
Yeah. We're not videoing ourselves on YouTube.
No,
However, we are on YouTube at Fantasy Chairmen Pod on YouTube.
That was strange.
But yeah, if you could have seen us, we both just slow take, look to our right out the window because there's just this little organ.
Come get your ice cream chilies.
Oh, man. It's time to go, Alex.
Let's get into this, people. Week 16.
That did it. It's week 15.
Yeah, man. My mind's
we got to get
to
through
the ice cream
week
truck.
15.
Week 15. Let's get you into the ship, people.
Round 2 of the playoffs. Let's get to those championships. I hopefully will be there in some of my leagues. Alex is hoping to be there in the chairman leagues.
Yes, please.
We're hoping that you're there in your leagues. Follow us on Twitter at Chairman Fantasy, at FindFFLeagues, and at Fantasy Squatch. Visit us on the web, www.fantasychairman.com. Instagram, at Fantasy Chairman Pod.
Oh, yeah, and then download us on all your podcast devices.
Yeah.
Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spreaker.
Oh, man.
Spotify.
Breaker. Yeah. iHeartRadio.
Ooh, YouTube.
We are on
We're
YouTube.
on them all.
That's right.
Download.
Rate.
Review.
Like us on the Twitter sphere and the socials.
Heck yeah. We might have a giveaway coming up here soon. Maybe end of the year championship week giveaway.
Oh, well, yeah. We might be able to do something. Might be able to do something.
We'll see something.
Championship week giveaway or a little welcome to 2021 season, off season, dynasty giveaway.
Oh,
something like that. We'll do something, but. Thank you, guys. That's the Fantasy Chairman Podcast. Good luck!
Fingers crossed.
You're better than that!
Just because.
You're darn right.
Thanks, Rocky.